For years, I have struggled finding ways to cope with depression and loss of friendships, as well as deaths of family members. My coping strategies have started off with creative writing, making comics, and just simply drawing, years ago, that is. I give it about a good 10 plus years that those things have helped me until the pain began to overwhelm me in ways that I thought would be impossible to overcome. So I had to find new ways to cope or spice things up with the current coping mechanisms because art will always be a part of me. Gardening is a new way for me to cope because it allows me to be in a moment of mindfulness as well as meditating. Mindfulness and meditation are very important to me because these are ways to help me center and ground myself. I cannot function properly without those two things, and I know that a lot of people can relate to that. With gardening, a lot goes on. You must protect your plants as well as yourself from a lot of things in that matter. Things like plant disease, rodents, insects, pests, natural disasters, things along those lines. I have been gardening for over 2 years now, and my garden as well as my sanity have been through a lot. About 3 years ago, gardening wasn't so bad starting out. I planted some sweet corn, collard greens, sweet potatoes, some forms of flowers that grew tall, and some zucchini squash. The only issues that I've had at the time were crows eating at the corn that I've planted, and that I had no idea on what I was expecting to harvest the corn. Other than that, we've had some great harvests for the zucchini, in which we made fried slices. The collard greens were tasty and beautiful. My mother made sweet potato pie from scratch that tasted far better than any pie I've had. The corn just turned out to be a flop, which is okay because I did not completely study how it was meant to grow corn that proper way. This year, however, was disastrous and a traumatizing experience for me. I planted some collards, zucchini squash, cucumbers, some odd plant that I found in Miami, melons, cantaloupe, strawberries, tomatoes, watermelon, and possibly some other plants. I was only able to harvest from the zucchini twice, the melon once, and the cucumber plants. My favorite harvest was the zucchini squash because I made these diced and very seasoned zucchini side dishes that tasted better than the entree itself. Not only that, but the zucchini grew so large that I didn't think possible for it to do so. This is quite a funny story about the zucchini. I had been wondering for weeks on when I was due to harvest the zucchini because for a while, past the expected harvest date, the plant was not fruiting because the bees were not properly pollinating the flowers. Once I noticed the bees pollinating, I had been wondering where the zucchini would grow. So I investigated every inch of the plant and I saw this huge dark green object and wondered what the heck it was. When I moved the leaves around to get a better look, there it was, a zucchini that was larger than my forearm. I was in pure shock because I did not think that zucchini could grow that large. That was one of my proudest harvests. After harvesting the zucchini squash, we were hit with an unexpected heat wave that destroyed the entirety of my garden as well as my hope. All my plants were scolded and dying. I couldn't find ways to protect my plants, and I even had found some, like, even if I had found ways to protect them, I believe it was too late to do anything about it. The leaves were all dry to the touch, turning brown, and most of the plant stems themselves were leaning over. In the beginning, I stated that the garden is a way for me to practice mindfulness and meditation. To see my garden being destroyed before my eyes, It felt like I was being stripped of the very two things that were holding me together. I began to lose hope and fall into a deep depression. I started fighting the urge to continue caring for my garden that was perishing, though I still brought myself to go outside and look at what was happening to my garden so that I could grieve, because this was more than just a garden to me. This entire thing was a connection to the universe and what Mother has to offer, and I was witnessing that being destroyed before my eyes. Each day, I would go out and attempt to tend to my perishing garden just so that I can feel better about myself along the lines of not fully giving up. It was extremely hard to do that because I felt like all of my hard work was being spat on, and it is okay though, because a week after routinely tending to my dying garden left me with an unexpected miracle type surprise, a flower.